I'm here with Alex. So, you've told us a little bit about your property journey and how you've grown to make them profitable. What have been some of the challenges that you've had? You had mention a few stories to us.
Oh, I've got lots and lots of stories. I mean, it's everything from, you encounter everything from having to explain to tenants that they can't go to the toilet in a bucket and slop out, right through to dealing with tenants who have to get sectioned, right through to dealing with non-payers. You have to deal with an awful lot of stuff, and you've got to learn to suck it up, and you've got to learn to not let it affect you, because it's easy to get upset, it's easy to make the wrong decisions, it's easy to start shouting at people if people aren't doing what you want. You've got to really try to be pleasant and nice at all times, and do things that are both in your interests and in the tenant's best interests.
Maybe you can illustrate this by giving the example of one of your stories about the crazy neighbour when you were trying to do some of your work.
Or one of the building jobs, yes, we were splitting a property up into, I think what we were doing a loft conversion and 3 flats and a maisonette in a certain property. And in some ways I was sorry for her. There was a lady next door who herself had split her property into 3 flats. And she was getting on in years, she was probably in her 60s, but she didn't want the building work. And I said, oh look, I'm really sorry, we're only working normal working hours, but it has got to happen. And once it's happened and it's done, and the property next door to yours will be in excellent order, and you should be pleased about that. But she wasn't. She just wanted no drilling, no hammering, no skips. And I have to say, she phoned every single authority, apart from I think the Coast Guard. If we lit a fire, if we had chucked a little bit of rubber in the skip without wetting it down first, she had them on us. We had the police around about them parking the vans, and it was just a constant tirade of the council going, oh, she's phoned us up again. And we were doing nothing wrong, we were complying with everything, we were getting everything right, but I think we broke her, unfortunately, because she moved out in the end.
Oh no.
But she could afford it. She had 3 flats there. She moved out. She rented a flat. She went to live somewhere else. So she herself was a landlady.
Yeah.
So she should have understood.
Yeah.
But she didn't. And you've got to deal with people like that, in a polite and reasonable manner, but whilst making sure you achieve what you need to achieve.
Because that also sounds like you've had quite an extreme tenant, with one being sectioned. What was the story there?
That was most unfortunate. That was really.
I've never heard of that.
That was really most unfortunate. It was a young lady from French Guyana, spoke excellent English, was over here studying, and she, in one of my properties, I had a reverend or lay preacher in some sort of evangelistic church. Very nice guy. He was also an electrical engineer, and every Sunday morning he had a massive room in the property about the size of an aircraft hangar really, and he used to have 25 of his followers around with their organs and their tambourines and Sunday service and everything. Unfortunately, he was overly familiar with several members of his flock.
Right.
Whilst not telling each of them that he was over familiar with the other one.
Okay.
2 of the occupants of my property also joined his church, and he became overly familiar with both of them.
Yeah.
Promising them both marriage. This didn't go down well. One of them, unfortunately, the stresses, trials and tribulations of dealing with her love life drove her over the edge. She ended up in the street. I shouldn't be laughing, but I am, I'm sorry. But she ended up in the street shouting and swearing. She ended up, she phoned me up one day and she said, your devils are encircling my house. And I said, what? Oh, your devils, you have sent your devils. I said, well, how do you know they're my devils? They have come out of your van with their big long tails.
Yeah.
And I think for a minute, hang on now. Owen's round there pressure washing the back garden. Of course, the devil with the big tail was Owen with his pressure washer. And, the girl in the end, she got sectioned. Her family came over from Guyana. I had a really heartrending conversation with her aunt. I let her out of a tenancy because it was just like, well, you know, I didn't have to, but it was the best solution at the time. And, you know, they'd taken her home and they looked after her. But, you know, it was difficult because although it was, I was sorry for my tenant as such, who'd lost it. The other sort of 6 or 7 people in the property were having a really, really difficult time with her. So it did have to be dealt with.
Yeah. I think that's part of the course, as you say.